Earlier this week, for example, you were at an Ottawa mosque, and at the mosque, women were segregated, I think including visitors. And so there you have inclusion of religion and inclusion of women in conflict with each other. And I wonder how you navigate that. How do you reconcile that?
Well, the first thing to recognize is there is work to do on all these sides everywhere. There is work to do in our parliament to get more women elected. There is work to do in all different religions to do a better job with equality. And the question is, do you engage and participate and share those values and talk about those values, or do you stay away and say, oh, I'm not talking to you until you hit the norm and the perfect ideal that we all aspire to? I think that's wrong. I think what you need to do is open and engage and talk about, as I do regularly when I go to mosques or temples or synagogues or gurdwaras or mandars or whatever, the importance of equality, the importance of LGBT rights, the importance of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada, which is not a buffet. You don't get to pick and choose the ones that you like that protect your right to have your traditional dress, while at the same time you don't want to pick the rights that protect someone else's rights to be different. I mean, these are things that we need to engage with and talk about. And not always just, I mean, for me, that first generation is always going to have challenges integrating. I mean, there are, like I said, in my district in Saint Michel, there are Italian grandmothers who still pretty much only speak Italian, don't speak much French or English, but their kids and their grandkids are seamlessly and completely integrated into Montreal, and the only difference is that they tend to be trilingual and not just bilingual. And that's, this is understanding that when we think about integration and success, we can't be overly impatient. We need to be respectful and keep a solid pressure and forward movement articulated. But we do have to know that the pressures that particularly the second generation will be faced if you're not thoughtful about it, between having to choose between their identity and their religion and their community and the school that they're part of, there shouldn't be contradictions and conflicts, because we all fundamentally in Canada need to aspire to the same shared values of openness, respect, compassion, willingness to work hard, desire to be there for each other, equality, justice, opportunity. These kinds of things are shared by all of us.
There are people in Daesh and so-called ISIS who say it's incompatible to be a Muslim and to hold Western liberal values. And by the way, there are far-right politicians in the USA, in the UK, and elsewhere saying the same thing. And look, I am the West. Daesh and so-called ISIS hate someone like me because I've proven it's possible to be a Londoner, it's possible to be a Brit, it's possible to be a European, it's possible to be of Pakistani heritage, of Asian origin, and to be a practicing Muslim. And it's really important that we don't inadvertently help Daesh and so-called ISIS do their job of recruiting our youngsters to join what they're doing. And that's why the shared values that Canada is famous for is so important. And it's really important that the left recognises we've got to address this issue. The time of laissez-faire integration is going to happen by itself. Just chillax. Those days are gone.